300 kilometers per hour, 5 times the force of gravity crushing your body through a corner, 1,000 horsepower waiting under your right foot, and the difference between your name in the history books and your name in nobody's memory is measured in thousandths of a second. This is not a sport. This is the most demanding, most brutal, most extraordinary test of what a human being can do when everything is on the line. And every single driver who ever sat in a Formula One car, every world champion, every legend, every name you know, started in exactly the same place. A kart, aged 8, going completely flat out, with everything to prove and absolutely nothing to lose. This is that journey, from the very beginning all the way to the top of the world. You are 8 years old and you have just found the only thing in your life that makes complete sense. The moment the kart accelerates, everything else disappears. School disappears. Problems disappear. The entire world disappears. There are no team orders here, no politics, no strategy meetings, no budget discussions, just you, the machine, and a corner coming at you faster than you thought possible. And somehow, you are not afraid. Lewis Hamilton got in a kart aged 8 and never looked back. Michael Schumacher was karting aged 4 before most kids could even spell racing. Max Verstappen was in a kart before he could read a book properly. They were not famous. They were not special in anyone else's eyes yet. They had not been signed or scouted or discovered. They were just kids who felt something the moment that throttle opened that they had never felt anywhere else in their lives. And they chased that feeling every single day until the world had absolutely no choice but to stop and pay attention. Rank 1, the Karter. And here is the truth about the kart that every champion knows. It never lies. Either you have the feel or you do not, and if you have it, nothing can stop what comes next. Now you are strapping into a single-seater racing car for the first time. Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula Regional. And the moment that downforce pushes you into the tarmac at full speed for the very first time, every single thing you thought you understood about going fast is completely, instantly, permanently wrong. This machine is nothing like the kart. This is something else entirely. But here's the thing nobody warns you about when you arrive at this level. Talent is not enough, not even close to enough. You need talent and results and funding, and a team that actually believes in you, and the timing to be in exactly the right place when exactly the right seat opens. All of those things at the same time. Some of the most naturally gifted racing drivers who ever lived never made it past this rank. Not because they were too slow, because the budget ran out, because the timing was wrong, because motorsport at this level is as much a business as it is a sport. And the ones who survive this rank and climb higher understand something the others never did. You have to master both sides. The driving and the business of being a driver. Rank 2, the junior formula driver. Speed gets you noticed. Everything else gets you to the next level. You are one step away from Formula One. The same circuits, the same pit lanes, sometimes racing the day before the Formula One cars even arrive. And the team principals are on the pit wall, watching every lap, every overtake, every mistake, every recovery, every single thing you do. Charles Leclerc drove through Formula 2 and landed at Ferrari. George Russell drove through Formula 2 and landed at Mercedes. Lando Norris drove through Formula 2 and became one of the most exciting drivers in the world. Every single one of them knew that one season, one championship, one defining set of results could completely change the entire direction of their life. The pressure in Formula 2 is unlike anything that exists below it. One bad weekend can cost you a contract that took years to earn. One absolutely brilliant season can open the door to the most watched, most celebrated, most competitive motorsport championship that has ever existed. You are not just racing anymore, you are auditioning in front of the most demanding, most unforgiving audience in sport. Rank 3, the Formula 2 driver. This is where Formula 1 careers are made, or ended, before they ever really begin. And then it happens. Your name. On a Formula 1 entry list, you climb into the cockpit on race day for the first time. The engineers seal you in, the visor comes down, and then the engine fires. Nothing in your entire career prepared you for this moment. The acceleration pins your head back so hard you cannot believe a road car is legal. The braking throws you forward against the belts with a force that makes your vision shake. And through the corners, the G-force presses on your body so hard that your vision blurs at the very edges and you have to consciously tell your muscles to keep working. And through all of that, you have to think clearly, instantly, correctly, because the car ahead just launched off the line and you are already half a second behind on lap 1 of your first ever Formula 1 race. First points finish, celebrated in your helmet like you just won the championship. First time your name appears in the top 10 on the official timing screens. You stare at it for 3 seconds longer than you should. First pit stop in 2.3 seconds. You did not even feel them change the tires. Every single first in this rank feels like the most important moment of your entire life, because every single one of them is. Rank 4. The F1 Rookie. The dream is real now, and real is faster, harder, and more extraordinary than anything you ever imagined it would be. The checkered flag falls on your car. First, in the entire history of modern Formula One, only 34 drivers have ever won a Grand Prix. 34 human beings out of every person who ever watched a race and dreamed. Out of every karter who ever went flat out on a cold morning. Out of every junior Formula driver who ever gave everything they had. 34. And you are one of them. The radio erupts. Your race engineer is screaming words you cannot fully process. The crowd is on their feet. Your hands are shaking inside the gloves so badly you can barely hold the steering wheel straight. And you are crossing the finish line in first place, the top step of the podium, your trophy, your national anthem. A grandstand packed with tens of thousands of people all on their feet for you. This is everything. Every early morning, every karting weekend in the cold, every junior Formula race, every Formula 2 battle where everything was on the line. It was all for this exact moment. Rank 5, the race winner. Your name is in the record books, and no one can ever take it out. Now the season itself is the battle. 20 races across 5 continents. Months of pressure that builds and builds and never fully releases until the very last lap of the very last race. Every single qualifying lap matters. Every strategy call matters. Every overtake under pressure matters. Every point from every race weekend across the entire season matters. Senna versus Prost, Hamilton versus Rosberg, Verstappen versus Hamilton, Abu Dhabi 2021, final lap, championship on the line, the entire world watching. This is the greatest sporting contest in the world, the most complex, the most pressurized, the most global, the most dramatic, and you are in it. Every race weekend is a war conducted at 300 kilometers per hour. Your engineers, your strategists, your tires, the weather, the safety car, your rivals, the championship standings, the points mathematics, all of it forming an equation so complicated that getting it right even once feels like a miracle. And at the end of the season, after all of it, one driver lifts the trophy, one team celebrates, and everyone else carries the weight of what might have been all the way through the winter. Rank 6, the championship contender. You have the talent and the speed to be world champion. The only question is whether every single piece comes together in the same year. 3 letters, 2 words, 1 title. World champion. Lewis Hamilton, 7 world championships. Started karting in Cambridge, aged 8. His father worked multiple jobs to fund those early seasons. Michael Schumacher, 7 world championships. Started karting in Germany, aged 4 in a kart his father built from parts found in a junkyard. Max Verstappen, the youngest world champion in the history of Formula One, was in a kart before he could read a sentence. Ayrton Senna, 3 world championships. Considered by hundreds of millions of people to be the greatest racing driver who ever lived. None of them became world champions because they were born with something that no other human being had. They became world champions because they combined the fastest raw speed with the deepest strategic intelligence, with the most exceptional physical conditioning, with a psychological resilience that allowed them to function at their absolute limit, when the pressure was so great that it would simply stop most human beings from thinking at all. And they did it consistently, not once, not on one good weekend. Across entire seasons, across entire careers. Rank 7, the world champion. Here is what every rank of Formula One teaches you about life. Speed alone has never won a single world championship. Not one time in the entire history of this sport has the driver with the highest top speed automatically become the champion. The champion is the most complete, the most consistent, the most resilient, the one who can find hundredths of a second that do not exist and deliver them under pressure that would break anyone else. And every single one of them started in a kart, aged 8, going completely flat out with absolutely no idea what they were about to become. So here's your question, not about Formula One, about whatever you are doing with your life right now. What is the corner you are afraid to take flat out? Because the driver who lifts at the corner never finds out how fast they could have gone. Somewhere right now, a kid is sitting in a kart for the very first time, feeling something in their chest that they have never felt before and cannot explain and do not want to stop. They have no idea what they are about to become. Maybe that kid was you once. Maybe if you stop lifting at the corners, it still is.